Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Scorpio energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Scorpio. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio. We've all got our dualistic nature and we have free will and we have to make decisions in our life. And people who are Scorpio sun signs or have significant Scorpio placements do also. It might be something that's particularly a struggle for people that are Scorpio sun signs or have a lot of significant Scorpio placements, but we all also deal with our own Scorpio energy. And Scorpio is emotional water sign energy, and we have to make decisions in our life. Are we willing to be in more deep, meaningful relationships? Are we willing to keep learning lessons in life and get out of our ego, our defensiveness, to keep growing and kind of healing and maturing ourselves and our relationships? Or do we like to keep doing things the way we've been doing it? We could do that more out of fear or insecurity, like to stay in our comfort zone. Fear of change. Scorpio in tarot is represented by the Death card of transformation, where we shed like an old layer of ourselves to face our fears and give birth to moving forward in life a little differently based on the lessons that we've learned. But we have to be willing to face our fears. We have to be willing to change. We have to get out of our ego, to admit that maybe we could benefit from looking at things a little differently. And maybe we kind of got a little off track and we kind of gave up on our dreams and listening to our intuition, because we can get so caught up in these things of the world or trying to make things work. But because Scorpio is fixed sign energy, about kind of the emotional energy we align with when we're trying to put work and effort into making something work. But sometimes we got to see the truth that's not working. You know, both people or the group of people that we're working with, everyone has to be willing to put in work and effort to make things work, and also be willing to heal and grow and mature themselves, and be willing to detach from some old ways of being that aren't conducive to things moving forward and bringing like a dream into reality. And we need to see kind of who's more inspired by more deep, meaningful relationships, is what high vibe Scorpio can talk about, and who might like to stay in their comfort zone, maybe in really shadowy Scorpio energy, be more intimidating, more controlling, more emotionally shallow and superficial, likes to keep their emotions buried beneath the surface, likes to be in a relationship, maybe because of the stability or the security or the status or the image, but maybe love isn't as important. So just listen to your intuition about where you might be in the story and where other people might be at in the story. Let's go look at the top row first. The reason for the top row's reading is the Two of Wands, Aries energy. I have a dream. Aries energy is about the self, and either we're willing to get out of our ego, learn lessons in life, and kind of put in work and effort to keep growing and healing and maturing ourselves to our full potential. High vibe Aries becomes an emperor, where they have learned all these lessons in life. They're making better decisions in their life. A leader in the world, inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and treating other people the way they like to be treated. But those are lessons to be learned, right? And sometimes some people who in their Scorpio Aries energy might harness a more high vibrational energy. They could be in relationships with people who are still got some lessons to learn, and they might still be more motivated by themselves or the world, the things that motivate and inspire them. They're not ready to detach from an old way of living life or ways of viewing life. And they're going to keep pursuing life the way they view it, and other people are ready to move forward in life differently. So let's go see what that is. We have the Ten of Swords, which is completing a cycle. It's kind of like, we kind of navigated everything we could have in a job, a friendship, or relationship. And now some people feel like, I've learned everything I needed to learn here. It's time to move forward, to keep moving forward, to bring the dream into reality. That was a phase of learning lessons, but now we did learn everything we needed to learn from that way of living life, viewing life, that age group that we were at, whatever it could be. I'm ready to move forward because when we finish a cycle in the Ten of Swords, we come out with the Ace of Swords. I am ready to move forward, to get the justice I deserve. Maybe I did get more balance within myself. Maybe I used to backstab myself more, get caught up in my head more, had a dream. I was unwilling to let go of that dream and this way of viewing life. But now I see the truth of it. And I need to detach from that old dream or old way of viewing life. I need to heal and grow and mature myself. Then we have the Nine of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles. And part of that can be where people previously were defending something, is what the Nine of Wands talks about. The Eight of Pentacles is Virgo energy, which in shadow can be more focused and inspired by the world, wanting to work together with people, hoping a job was going to move forward, wanting to maybe get married to someone, or you did get married to someone. But it's also kind of realizing that other people could be more defensive to putting in work and effort, or they kind of wanted to more indulge in the relationship and they were defensive to moving forward. You know, the Eight of Pentacles generally is looking to the future. You know, we invest. That's like the Seven of Pentacles. We invest in something new, which is Taurus energy, and there's something we're putting work and effort into. But are we ever going to learn lessons to move forward then in that new beginning, to move forward in that new way? And some people could be defensive to that, because they're not ready to move forward. Maybe they're not willing to stand up for themselves, because we have to stand up to our own shadow nature and other things in life that manipulate us to invest in moving forward in life differently. And some people aren't ready to do that. They may never be willing to do that. They might live more from their mind than their heart. They might be more defensive about believing in themselves, believing in their dreams, believing in love. So they could be someone who defends, living more from their mind than their heart, defending a more worldly view of life. I want to be in relationships because maybe either, like, I kind of want to indulge myself in it without putting in this work and effort to look at the things that manipulate me, that keep me stuck right here. And people can get in a relationship with them and they're defending it, they're putting work and effort into it, but it's like, are we ever going to move forward? Then we have the Justice card, to get the justice we deserve, to bring justice to the situation. You know, you can be in a relationship, you can have a job, and people were like, you should come work here, and you should put in work and effort, and kind of created this illusion that your dreams would come into reality, but it doesn't ever seem like you get the justice you thought you were going to get, or they don't treat you in a just and fair manner. And and the same thing can happen in relationships. Like, I thought we were going to move forward and we were both going to get out of our defensiveness and we're going to work through issues of the past to get more balanced within ourselves so we could both move forward in a more just and fair manner. And kind of realize some people are defensive to that. So people kind of see the truth of it and they decide to do the work and effort within themselves to kind of come to a place of peace about it and get balance within themselves, to believe in themselves, to believe in their dreams. You know, we can all have a way of living life that we think is just and fair. And we kind of realize that our idea of what we think is just and fair and their idea of what they think is just and fair is different. So we could harness our Libra energy different. Our truth is different. What drives and motivates us is different. And my dream can't come into reality with people if what drives and motivates them isn't, love is to be just and fair, where you treat other people the way you like to be treated. But some people have a different idea. How about you be defensive to loving and believing in yourself, and I live more from my mind than my heart? How about you do love? And you put in this work and effort and are loving and encouraging and just and fair, and I get to stay tipped out of balance, living more from my mind than my heart, being defensive, but I want to work with you and stay in a relationship with you. It's like, but you're not balanced within yourself. You haven't. Virgo talks about doing this inner work within yourself to be enlightened to the truth, to work through some of your defensiveness. And the Nine of Wands can be kind of like immature energy. I need to work with someone else who's done this work within themselves to be more balanced within themselves, who is more just and fair, who is more motivated and inspired to treat other people the way they like to be treated. But again, some people have a dream that I want to be in a relationship with someone who's more high vibe, but that's not the truth of who I am. That is not my truth. But I think it's just and fair for me to be immature, materialistic, egotistical, more about me. This would be good for my ego and my image. It would look like I'm moving forward with someone who's more just and fair and loving. Works for them. And eventually the high five people are like, this doesn't work for me. Because I also want to be in a relationship with someone who's more just and fair and puts in work and effort, and fire energy is motivated and inspired, and high vibe energy is love. And you don't seem to be, that's not your truth. So some people are just going through that right now. Other people have already went through it, and they've moved on from those people, even though they were defensive, to not continuing to invest in it. But they realized if they stayed, they were kind of going to be backstabbing kind of what they wanted to manifest in the world. And it maybe wasn't going to be a very deep, meaningful relationship. If both people aren't putting in work and effort from love, why is the other person even in the relationship? Because some other relationship didn't work out? Because they're defensive? Because someone who was loving and nurturing was willing to work with them, but they're still not willing to do the work and effort to be more just and fair in a relationship? Well, eventually the high vibe people want justice. And they kind of realize I can't change other people. And if their truth isn't the same as my truth, and what I think is just and fair, and what drives and motivates me is different than what drives and motivates them, and what they think is just and fair, our dreams are different. And how they want to move forward is different. So we have the Page of Cups, which is like offering peace and love to the situation so you can let it go. Because love is the answer. Love is what helps free us from things that manipulate us. I can love people. Here we have Gemini energy, which can talk about people's free will of what they choose to defend and invest in and align with that they think is just and fair. I can know all sorts of people. People in my family, people in my workplace, people in my community, my neighborhood. We can all have different ways of living life, and with most of those people, we can get along just fine with them. I wish you peace. You do you. I'll do me. A lot of those people can wish us peace and love. You do you. It's more challenging, though, if it's like a close friend that you've been in a relationship with for a long time and you wanted them to keep moving forward with you. But in this Eight of Pentacles, the character is looking to the past, and they might have some issues they need to deal with to work through to get more balance within themselves. It's more challenging if it's a romantic partner where they're still defensive, still caught up in their head, have fears about being high vibe energies, about being more independent. And again, they could have people in their life and things within them. Maybe they are more immature. Maybe they feel more comfortable and safe, living more from their mind, doing what seems practical and logical. investing in the world, not willing to be more independent. And we wish them peace. And then in the Seven of Pentacles, we realize from the Eight of Pentacles down to the Seven of Pentacles that, again, our truth, the Seven of Pentacles, is Taurus energy about what our philosophy of life is. And then we would invest time, energy, and effort into what we think is just and fair. And some people want to go invest in something else. Like, okay, high vibe people accept the truth. I accept the truth that not everybody wants to be my friend. Not everybody wants to be in a relationship with me. That some of the jobs I want in the world and that I wish things would work out the way I want, they don't. I just take it as a sign that, I do the inner work within myself to make sure that I'm not sabotaging a relationship, that I'm not more defensive, that I'm not really just and fair, or I'm not more authentic. And high vibe people would offer love to all those things to get more balance within themselves, to be more, to work through those things so that they can kind of invest in more loving, authentic relationships that they want. And they see who doesn't quite just be on the same page as them. They make offers and communicate with people in their life who they do think have the same kind of philosophy of life as them. But if some of those people are like, I wish you peace too, but I'm already moving forward in that kind of relationship. I wish you the best. High vibe people are like, oh, bummer. But I accept the truth of it. And then there's going to be other people that they think are more on the same page as them. And some of those people are like, well, thanks for thinking I was more just and fair and loving, maybe than I really am. But I'm really not. And we kind of see the truth of that too. So high vibe people see who is kind of on the same page as them, who isn't. And then we have the Five of Pentacles, which from the 7 down to the 5 of Pentacles is just accepting the truth. People are invested in what they're invested in, living their life the way they want to live life, living their life the way they think is just and fair. And some of them could be very high vibrational. Some people you might know are more shadowy. They just try to present themselves as more high vibe, like they're more stable and grounded and emotionally mature and loving or just or fair than they really are. But regardless, from the 7 down to the 5, we let go of the 2 of Pentacles. I can have good boundaries. I can put in work and effort to maintain balance in relationships, maintain balance within myself, get along with people. But I'm looking for people who have that more hopeful, believing spirit, who are done juggling. Because in our Gemini energy, it talks about our free will where we have to make decisions. Some people have definitely chosen, I choose hope and faith and belief and love and listening to my intuition, and when I make decisions in my life, that's kind of more what guides me. Other people have decided I am more about me or my fear or my defensiveness or my lust or my greed or my pride or my ego. And that's kind of more what drives and motivates me. But then there's the people who haven't picked a path and they're still juggling. And you might know some people that you think are more high vibe. You might know some people that you think, yeah, no, I'm not going to get in a relationship with them because we are definitely not on the same page. And with everybody is kind of wishing them peace. But I'm looking for the people who I think are more on the same page as me. And high vibe isn't juggling. And there can be people we wanted to work with and we wanted to invest in. But if they're not working together with us to move forward in that way, the 5 of Pentacles is typically moving forward, detaching from an old foundation and a way of living life and viewing life. If they're not doing that, then I can't keep sitting here. The 7 of Pentacles is usually like looking and investing in things and people to try to figure out who's kind of more on the same page as you. And eventually you might realize Some of the people I've known in my life, some of the people that are presently in my life, they could be friends and family members, and we can all have a lot of people that we are friends with and that we get along with well enough. But maybe for someone that's someone who's more that you want to move forward with in a more to bring a dream into reality, we can realize that none of those people are the people. Just like we could have dated people, and it's like, there could have been all these different things, because life is about learning lessons. We come in contact with all these different people in the world to help us get more clear kind of about what our truth is and what our philosophy of life is and what our dreams are. And so we could have known people, again, we have Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, Libra, the emotional water sign energies of Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, and then the Taurus again, and the Taurus again. And Taurus, again, is kind of like the Supreme Court in our own head, that we've kind of debated these things within us, and like, what is my truth? What is my philosophy of life? And there could be a lot of people that, in a lot of ways, I like them. I wish them the best. I could maybe, they could be someone I would defend, because there's, but am I going to be in a more involved relationship with them? No, but we can all get along fine. I could know people who I feel backstab and betray me, backstab and betray others, or really just caught up in their head. Or the truth is they could be very defensive, or very materialistic, or very immature, very stubborn, more about themselves, more caught up in the world. But I can have lots of different people in my life, and I can love them, but they're not someone who I feel like I can move forward with. So in a more romantic relationship, so I need to quit juggling, kind of waiting for other people to change, because we all know how hard it is to complete a cycle. At any stage of our life, there is kind of more immature or stubborn or fearful or codependent or whatever ways of being that we had. That can take 10 years to work through a significant kind of way of viewing life that we had for our philosophy of life to change. The fives talk about change. We have a dream we want to bring into reality, and it's just to see the truth of where different people are at. And the only person I can change is me. You might know some people that are still really invested in trying to change other people. Oh no, I'm sure one day they'll get just and fair. Hey, I've been there. I can relate. You might be waiting forever, and eventually you might feel left out in the cold. Because the truth is accepting that if people were more motivated and inspired to be more just and fair and authentic and loving and treat other people the way they would like to be treated, they would be that kind of person. And we've probably all gotten kind of in relationships with people who that is not their truth. But we kind of didn't want to see the truth of it. And we could have really liked them or been attracted to them and could have gotten in a relationship with them, defended a relationship with them. We were sure that we were going to get on the same page. And then you can end up feeling left out in the cold in that relationship. And then you could kind of maybe see that that is what some people wanted all along. I have this way of viewing life, and they could think it's just and fair for someone who is more aligned with their hopeful, believing, loving nature to come get in a relationship with them. And that's just what they think is just and fair. You be more balanced, more tempered, less immature, less bossy or about yourself, and I want to be in a relationship with you. I think that's just and fair. But yet they get to be maybe more defensive or live more from their mind than their heart. And they're not as loving and giving and inspired by love as you are. And that's why you end up feeling left out in the cold. And we could know some people that they're still doing that. They're still learning that lesson, that this probably isn't going to work out the way you want. But I can't make other people learn a lesson. You know, everybody's got to learn lessons on their own. And it can be difficult and challenging. And some people are going to have to go through kind of getting backstabbed and betrayed and things not turning out the way they want. The Nine of Wands can be like feeling wounded, you know, and wondering, why don't I get justice in the world? Well, we have to deal with the truth. We need to quit investing more of our time, energy, and effort into people who aren't inspired from a foundation and a philosophy of life of being more authentic and loving. Because in high vibe, the pages are in that hopeful, believing, loving spirit. But for some people, they harness that energy in a more shadowy way. Well, that would require for me not to keep investing in thinking it's just and fair to indulge me in my more immature ways. And I would have to let go of that way of viewing life, Scorpio death card. And I would kind of have to grow up and mature myself and be more in favor of aligning with my more hopeful, believing nature. And some people don't want to do that. And other people then see the truth and they kind of realize there's people in the world who just kind of juggle people, try to create an illusion they're more just and fair and authentic and loving than they really are, and that they're never going to change. And that's when high vibe people realize the only person I can change is me. And this is a feminine figure, so that can mean how we think and feel, male or female. Emotionally, I'm the only one who I can change. I can offer other people truth and love and encouragement, but they have to make that free will decision within themselves to work through their defensiveness, their more worldly nature, maybe their more immature nature. And they have to put in the work and effort to figure out maybe why they juggle, why they go back and forth, or why they've picked a path of being more about themselves or the world. And until they change, we have the Eight of Wands, which, like the Nine of Wands, is Sagittarius energy about higher learning and education. I'm going to keep moving forward, being inspired by my dreams. And as I communicate my truth to people, that this is how I am moving forward, and I have this dream, if some of those people aren't choosing to come with me, well, I'm sad. Kind of in the Five of Cups. I wish they would wanted to move forward with me. But my dream can only come into reality with people who are motivated and inspired by the same things I am. And from the 9 down to the 8, I'm not going to basically take action towards them anymore to try to, the Sagittarius energy can also be represented by the Knight of Wands, which can kind of be chasing people. I'm not going to chase people anymore. My dream can only come into reality with people who are motivated and inspired by the same things I am. And if I communicated my truth in love to people, and I basically told them I wanted to invest in them and move forward with them in this way, and they didn't, well, I have to see the truth. Some of the people you might not know well enough, where it's like, and people can change over time, that, again, everybody's at these different places in life, but sometimes I have to take into consideration that some of those people have moved on with people that are more aligned with their truth, and they are in high vibe energy and high vibe relationships. Yeah, there is, when we could have not been ready to move forward, we weren't on the same page at some point in time, they could have met someone else who was more on the same page. So we make peace with all of that, and we believe that the divine has a plan for our life. We also have to take into consideration that sometimes some people, you told them your truth and they're like, again, well, thanks for thinking I was that type of person, but I'm really not. Or I'm going to take some immature action because you want me to move forward in a more authentic, bold, brave, confident way. And I'm kind of used to trying to manipulate people to get them to do what I want. So I think if I don't take action towards you, as you keep moving forward, you'll kind of feel left out in the cold. And instead of continuing to move forward and believing in yourself, I think you'll turn back and come back and kind of make an offer to me, which will kind of imply to them that you're kind of in that mindset. Well, no, I need you in order for my dream to come into reality. And then they kind of know you kind of don't maybe love and believe in yourself and that you're maybe a more codependent energy. And then they're like, perfect, let's do the relationship I want because you're a more codependent energy. I'm going to be a little bit more bossy or controlling or shadowy or immature. But since you don't love and believe in yourself, perfect, we'll do it this way. And we'll stay in this kind of mismatched type of relationship because you don't love and believe in your dreams. And that's why some people are like, I've already kind of tried, at different stages of our life, we could have put a lot of time and effort into people, hoping one day they'd grow up or mature themselves or get out of their defensiveness or work through their fears and their insecurities. And it's like, I'm going to go communicate and invest my time, energy, and effort into people who already seem to be in the energy that I'm in. And if there was some people I could have communicated with and have met that I was thinking they were more on the same page, but they're not, then I wish them peace and I'm going to keep moving on. The Eight of Wands in Sagittarius high vibe is life's an adventure. And I'm going to go on that adventure. I can only have my dreams come into reality with people who are on the same page as me at the same time. And sometimes we're not on the same page at the same time. So I wish you peace. You do your thing, learning lessons you need to learn. I'm going to move forward. And then from the Eight of Wands down to the Two of Wands, it's letting go of the Six of Wands, which for one is getting out of our ego, because the Six of Wands is Leo energy, which can be being in our ego. I'm not going to stay in my ego about it. Some people want me to be in my ego. That can be purposely why some people aren't investing in me. Because maybe they do view me as someone who's more independent, more inspired, more bolder, braver, confident, and they don't like it. And so they don't want to be in a relationship with me. It's like, okay, some people are trying to manipulate me. It's like, everybody has free will to defend what they want to defend, a way of viewing life, a way of living life, of what they think is just and fair. Some people like people being more codependent on them, kind of chasing after them, kissing their butt. It's like, well, I'm sure you'll find some people who are willing to do that. I'm looking for people who want to be more just and fair in a relationship, who want to be more authentic, who want to go on this adventure exploring the mysteries of life. And high vibe Sagittarius is also that higher learning and education and wrapping your brain around this game of life. And some people are just like, no, I'm not willing to do that. I want to keep living my life like this. Maybe I'll go try to find someone else who I think is more on the same page as me. I'm still maybe more caught up in these things of the world and not more inspired to step out of my comfort zone yet. So high vibe people are moving forward, seeing that some people, the Six of Wands, can be people that we did want to have a new beginning with, that we thought would be, that we had the same dream, like the 2, 3 of Wands coming together in the 6 of Wands. And I was like, apparently we aren't on the same page, and our dreams, again, are different. We're at different places. So I wish you peace. I'm going to maintain balance within myself from love. And I'm going to invest in not continuing to go back and forth about it. And I'm going to be inspired to go on this adventure to find out what God has planned for me. Because God does want our dreams to come into reality. Our high vibe nature wants our dreams come into reality. Our own shadowy nature and other people in shadowy energy doesn't want us to be more bold and brave and confident, because if we weren't more bold and brave and confident and inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness, we would stay in a relationship with them. And so they kind of don't want us to move forward in that way because they don't move forward in that way. And it's like, but that is my truth. And those are the kind of relationships I want to be in. It's like, well, then keep moving forward and investing your time, energy, and effort into the people in your life who are moving forward with you in that way, who have that same dream, are inspired by those same things, and you'll probably meet more people who are more on the same page as you. But we can all be tempted in our more worldly, egoic, codependent, fearful, lustful, greedy, materialistic nature, right? And that's what could be manipulating some people still, or just being more about themselves. The reason for the bottom rose reading is the Knight of Swords, which the Knight of Swords is sent by the King and Queen of Swords. You know, we're either more balanced, because the King of Swords I view as Libra energy, just like the Justice card. The Queen of Swords is Aquarius energy. We're either more caught up in the worldly dream and looking like a shining star, or being indulged in a relationship and being more about ourselves, or we kind of look at life from a higher perspective, and that there's more to life than just me or these things of the world. High vibe energy is about being more independent from your shadow nature in the world, to live your more authentic life and not sacrifice your truth, love, your creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature for these things of the world. And some people did. That is their truth. Some people completely live more from their mind than their heart. I do not think there is any other purpose on this planet than me. It's supposed to be all about me. Other people, it's all about the world and looking like a shining star in the world, having status, image, power, money. I'm sure that will make me happy. And that's their truth. And also, like the King and Queen of Swords can be in shadow people who could just think they're really smart, that I can just manipulate people to get them to do what I want. I don't really authentically, emotionally have to invest in people, because that puts me at a risk of being hurt emotionally. And I prefer to live more from my mind than my heart. And I'll just use my emotions and my charm and my looks and my sexuality and all these things to try to manipulate people into thinking I'm a more high vibrational person than I am. And they keep doing that, and eventually people feel left out in the cold in a relationship with them, and people don't want to keep investing in them, and they move on, but they can want to stay in denial of the truth. No, that's not it. You know, I just need to go find someone who's more like me. So, we have the Five of Swords, the Queen of Wands, the Page of Swords, the King of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Knight of Pentacles. So, there's some people who have a lot of mental conflict about people who harness this energy in a more high vibrational way. In high vibe, the Queen of Wands can talk about someone who is more motivated and inspired. In the Page of Swords, has that kind of hopeful, believing spirit within them. And they've learned to offer love to themselves, to kind of grow up and mature. In the King of Pentacles, their more immature worldly nature. We all have the free will choice to have mental conflict about growing up and maturing ourselves. But some people were inspired to love themselves, where I don't want to keep taking action more out of my pride and my ego and my fear and my insecurity and my lust and my greed. I do want justice. I want to feel more balanced within myself. And so they did this work. High vibe Queen of Wands I view as Leo energy, also represented by the sun. I'm going to offer love and encouragement to myself, like be a good mother, father, coach voice to myself, so that my more immature way of thinking, logic, and reasoning can grow up and mature itself. And The Wheel of Fortune can talk about, I want to go with the flow. I don't like for me to keep getting in situations where either I get backstabbed or I may be backstabbing other people out of my own defensiveness or whatever, right? And then in this picture, the Wheel of Fortune is pregnant. And again, the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. I want to give birth to something new. And shadowy Aries energy and the Wheel of Fortune also, and the Wheel of Fortune can be about, we all have in our fixed sign energy, which Scorpio is one, Taurus is one, Aquarius is one, and Leo, our ego, is one. It's hard for us to, and we got a lot of lessons learned. We could repeat this pattern many, many times, having good intentions, and we keep learning lessons as we go. And as we go, we kind of realize what I shouldn't keep investing in, what I should detach from, what I should let go of. And it's all this process of going on this journey and learning these lessons. But again, sometimes we get in relationships with people, and from the get-go, we are on different pages, but the Queen of Wands can be, we can be attracted to people, and the truth is, in the Page of Swords, we do want to be in a relationship, or the King of Pentacles can represent, we want a job. And we could really want that job for some reason. It would feel like things are going to turn in our favor. We're going to be able to give birth to something new. And we did. We could have went and gotten a new job, gotten in a new friendship, gotten in a new relationship. And the Knight of Pentacles can talk about learning these lessons. And then as we go on those journeys in life, all these different life experiences, hopefully we are learning lessons along the way. High vibe Virgo energy is about learning these lessons. Where do I need to heal and grow and mature myself? What about some of the people I was in a relationship with? Where do they need to heal and grow and mature themselves? I can't make them see the truth. I can't free them. If they lack good boundaries within themselves and they are kind of more immature and self-indulgent or more about themselves or more caught up in these things of the world, they're going to have to go on their own life experience. And maybe I've already learned some of those lessons, that if I make my life about those things or make those things the end all be all, like, oh my gosh, if I drink this or I eat this or I have this or I have that, I'll be happy. I've maybe already kind of went and had those life experiences, and I've already learned that I might keep pursuing some of those things because I have mental conflict about listening to my intuition. Again, we kind of got to get out of our ego, and we can all think we're so smart and this should work out the way I want it, and I'm sure this will work out. Are we willing to admit that, well, for one thing, I don't control other people. I can get in something that seemed like it was going to be just and fair and move forward victoriously and successfully. But some of the people that I could have gotten in relationship with somewhere along the way, when it required them maybe to quit investing in kind of a more emotionally immature way of viewing relationships, where maybe they kind of did, male or female, kind of get a little full of themselves. Because people can get in a relationship, or you can take a job. Things can go okay for a while, and we're like, oh, we're going to get justice. And then it's kind of like, once people get you to take the job or get in the relationship, then it's kind of like, oh, now I can invest. I don't have to keep putting in that work and effort. Now I can kind of be kind of more immature and more self-indulgent now that I got them to get in a relationship with me. And for some people, that is their game plan too. I put on the show about what type of person I am, so people will get in a relationship, try to make them think that, oh, you don't have anything to worry about here. I'm not manipulative. I'm not immature. I'm not materialistic. I don't want to win at all costs. I'm not defensive. And then they get people in a relationship, and then you kind of find out that that's not the truth of who they were. But then they're hoping you'll be in your ego about loving and believing in yourself enough to listen to your intuition, to stand up for what you believe in and quit investing in them when they have shown you their truth. Because we all know when we get in jobs, friendships, relationships, we'd really like those to work out. We've put time, energy, and effort into them, and we wanted a dream to come into reality. But we need to see the truth when someone isn't acting with character and integrity. And, they're not putting in the work and effort to keep moving the relationship forward in a more just and fair and balanced way. Because for some reason they think, it's like trying to use the love that you have for them to manipulate you. Oh, I don't think they'll leave. I don't think in the Five of Pentacles they'll detach from this foundation. I don't think they love and believe in themselves enough. I've kind of got them trapped in this relationship with me. And we're going to move forward more in my truth, which is, we should stay in it more for the ego and the image and the money and the materialism and the status. And I think those things tempt people, so I think you'll stay in it. And I don't think you'll be willing to let go of it. And the same way an employer can do that at a job. They can end up, creating this illusion that they're these just and fair and stable and grounded people that you should move forward with them. And then you get in the job and it's like, oh my God, you are immature and petty and egotistical and... oh my gosh, I really wanted this to work out and I really hate to have to go look for a new job, but you are not who you said you were. And eventually the high vibe people in the Knight of Swords stand up with the Bull card is, well, kind of really makes me think of Taurus, but it also makes me think of Aries, that, my truth is different than your truth, and I am going to stand up for what I believe in, and I am going to go look for another job. I don't have to tell you that I'm looking for another job if it's employment, but I'm going to communicate with some other people in the world that I am ready to detach from this, and I could tell them it's not what I thought it was going to be, and maybe I just don't think that the potential is there like I thought. And, it's always one of those conundrums, right? Especially if it's a job, because they always tell you not to criticize the people that you were leaving behind. But I guess maybe somebody could say, maybe you would say, I think I want to, they seem like they're kind of fixed in their ways, and that might, you're always looking for a good fit at work also. And it's like, it just seems like they have a way of doing things that, of course, they're comfortable with, that they feel they want to keep investing in that. And I guess I'm looking maybe for people who seem to be a little more motivated and inspired to be willing to incorporate new things and new ways of being. And some people can be really stuck in their ways, and some people could be kind of more bossy or controlling or stubborn. And I just didn't feel like we were a good mix, and I'm kind of looking for people who are more high vibe energy, is going with the flow in the Wheel of Fortune. And I've seen the truth that we're not on the same page. Could I have liked the job, liked the people? Same way in a relationship, I liked the people. I would have liked it to have moved forward, but maybe it would even be their leadership style. is a little more controlling or manipulative or rigid or stubborn. And it's, high vibe fire sign energy would be more flexible, again, because people have learned some of these lessons in life. Anyway, there could be some people right now. Everybody, when something doesn't work out the way they want, it causes everybody some mental conflict. And at different stages in our life, we've had things that didn't work out the way we wanted, and it causes us mental conflict. The difference is that some people did get out of their ego about it. They realized not everybody wants to be their friend or be in a relationship with them. And not everybody's going to like us. Not everybody. And we also need to see the truth. Some people still have a lot of mental conflict. Like, why didn't those people view me a certain way? Why didn't those people want to be my friend? And they're still, are chasing after people. But you have to, because that's shadowy energy, you need to acknowledge my worth and value. I maybe feel not good enough if certain people in a certain clique don't seem to feel like I fit in that group. And their whole life plan could practically be to get a certain status and image in the world so that someone who seems to be in that type of clique of life will move forward with them in a relationship. Then they would finally feel like they have justice. And for some people that has been so important, for some of them, they've done that and they're realized, oh, wow. For some reason, I thought this was going to be the end-all, be-all. I'd finally feel validated. I'd finally be happy. My dreams would be coming into reality. And now some of those people are realizing, I feel left out in the cold. And they weren't getting past shadowy Scorpio, the more superficial and shallow. And kind of realizing that they could have wanted certain people to invest in them and view them a certain way to validate their worth and value, and they thought they'd be happy, and then they kind of realized some of those people are superficial and shallow, and they really are more motivated and inspired by love, but because kind of in their ego, like, why do certain people seem to hang out with certain people or have certain people invest in them, and I want to seem like one of those people. But again, they could have been they weren't listening to their intuition. And they could have thought in their ego that if I'm in a relationship with people who seem to have what I view as justice in the world, or the things that I would like, but they weren't seeing through the superficial and shallow also, that it's like, love is what makes it all worthwhile. And you can go pursue all those things and have all those things. And some people are starting to see it now, but they might still keep defending it and moving forward with it. That I really wish I had been more inspired to believe in myself and believe in my dreams, because I could have everything by worldly standards that look like I've got it going on and that I have justice in the world. And it looks good, it quacks like love, it walks like love, it acts like love. But it can be a more superficial and shallow life. And it's not a deep, meaningful relationship inspired by truth and love. So the Knight of Swords is also Gemini energy. And it's just kind of realizing our idea of the dream life, and it's just learning these lessons. Wait a minute, I thought this would make me happy. I thought this would be just and fair. Wait a minute, I feel like people are being hurtful to my more authentic, loving nature, that I could get the feeling people like me to be defensive, that people like me to be in mental conflict, don't want me to love and believe in myself, do hurtful, unkind things. because they kind of want to be the boss and maybe be more about them. And if I try to live my more authentic life and just be more independent in the world, they try to control me because they don't like me be harnessing these energies in a more high vibrational way where I'm healing and growing and maturing myself and facing my fears. Because if I do that, I'm more willing to stand up for what I believe in, and that's not their truth, and they don't want to move forward that way. And then eventually we see the truth of it. You know, the way you want to keep moving forward in life is more defending your ego nature, your kind of more self-indulgent or immature nature, your more materialistic nature. That is your truth. That is what you defend. And that's how you want to keep moving forward. And I don't. I feel like I'm backstabbing and betraying my dreams. And my creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature is telling me I need to end this. And the whole thing might have been to get me to do this inner work, to be willing to stand up for myself and what I believe in. And again, we've all got to go on this journey to learn, to get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. Kind of hard to stand up for your truth when you could have kind of been going back and forth and didn't even know really for sure what your truth was. And then these situations happen in life where it really kind of forces you to get clear about what your truth is and what your truth isn't. And I deserve justice if I'm being truthful and honest and authentic and loving, putting in work and effort to work together with people cooperatively. I deserve to be in relationships with people who treat me that way. And the bottom row can be that we were repeating an old pattern because maybe we were maybe a more codependent energy. And maybe we could have been a very loving, giving, nurturing person to other people, but for someone to treat us that way, well, no, I don't really love myself. See, I'm a loving, giving person to other people to try to get them to change. Then maybe I feel like I earned it. That's Virgo energy. I feel like I earned it. They were willing to change. If they were willing to change, then I know they love me or something, you know? It's like, that's not true. Love should be freely given, you know, in a way with people. Be just and fair and loving with people. See who is just and fair and loving. We had to learn lessons about people who are creating illusion, who are deceptive and manipulative. And then we take those lessons with us to go find the people in the world who we think our intuition tells us. And we also had lessons learned about listening to our intuition instead of ignoring it. Who are the people who I think are more on the same page, who are being truthful and honest and authentic? And who do I think is got some issues they haven't dealt with that makes them still defensive and operate more from their ego, or is just more materialistic and self-indulgent? I've already been in relationships with people like that. I don't want to be in a relationship with people like that anymore. And I'm going to take the lessons I've learned from this to move forward. And how many life experiences have we went through from the time we were little children with people not working with us cooperatively in a way that we thought was just and fair? High vibe people definitely could have went in their funks in their life, but because they kind of have that hopeful, believing, loving spirit, they generally can find people in the world who are also loving and encouraging, and it helps them get back up on their feet again. And then it's just like anything, it's kind of muscle memory, and you have more life experience. And some people always stayed in their ego about it. Why didn't those people like me? Why didn't those people view me a certain way? Shadowy energy, I'm jealous and envious of those people. But they're not seeing the truth that some of the people they're jealous and envious of are more balanced, just and fair, inspiring, loving, supportive, encouraging people. And they might not be. But they could act like they are, and then they don't understand why things don't turn out the way they want. It's like, because shadowy energy, again, can be about creating this illusion, living more from their mind than their heart. Don't I act like this, talk like this, hang out with these people, say this thing, laugh at the right time, console people at the right time? But that's all like a mental strategy. The other people are authentically who they say they are. If they're loving and nurturing and consoling and compassionate, it's because they really are. And that's what some people don't get. Because they have mental conflict of being more authentic and vulnerable, maybe trusting other people, investing in other people more authentically. And other people really do that. And then they can't understand it. Well, I act like that, I look like that, I do this, I do that. And they're kind of not seeing kind of beyond the surface. You know, it's like people, oh, that's not a good example, but like human beings being like rocks in a way. It's like, well, I'm a rock, they're a rock. You know, look what I have, look what color I am, look what assets I have, look what traits and characteristics I have. And these could just be people that never have really cultivated and invested this time, energy, and effort to get more balance within themselves, to, you know, Scorpio can talk about our emotional confusion, and, you know, we are this emotionally complex human being, and some people in a more shadowy Scorpio are like, that's confusing. I'm kind of going to bury that underneath the surface. I'll just use them as I need them a little bit, but it's more to live from my mind. And other people did that work to work through the fact that they're an emotionally complex human being and learn how to work with them so it doesn't like overwhelm them and get them more defensive, and other people haven't. So what's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Scorpio energy that they might not see coming? They've done some inner work to make peace with the past, and they're ready to move forward. You know, Virgo energy here and Virgo energy there, that is doing that inner work, and it takes time to work through all those things. There's a part of ourself that we want to be more codependent. There's a part of ourself that would like to operate more, stay in our fear and our insecurity, our ego. There's part of us that would like to just go indulge in things to make ourselves feel better. But those are like short-term gratifications that probably don't turn out the way we think, because we're not taking action more in truth and love and balance. And so the high vibe people did this work within themselves. They worked through their defensiveness. They got balance within themselves. They offered love to the past. They're knowing what people in their life they need to kind of quit investing their time, energy, and effort into. And they're ready to go on this new adventure. They have a new dream. And some people in the world are mad that high vibe people did that because you weren't willing to backstab yourself to indulge someone in their more worldly, egoic way of being. Well, they're going to have to go find someone else. The high vibe people in the Eight of Cups, you're moving forward in life. Why? Because of the Six of Swords, you saw the truth. The Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords. You saw your own shadowy nature doesn't have your best interest in mind. And there's people who want you in your more shadowy energy because they are too. And then you'd move forward with them in a relationship. But it was causing you mental conflict because you felt like the way they wanted to move forward, that their truth was different. And it's like, your idea of what you think is just and fair and emotionally fulfilling is different than my idea of what I think is just and fair and what I find emotionally fulfilling. And I have learned through this process to love myself and believe in myself and believe in my dreams and be an encouraging, loving, nurturing person to myself to get out of my more codependent ways of being. And I trust that the divine has a plan for my life, and it isn't to stay in a shadowy environment. So I'm going to take that cup of love to get out of being emotionally confused or caught up in the illusion of some things or people. I'm going to take action in truth and love to bring my dreams into reality. And I think as you move forward in that way, there's going to be other people that have had to do these same things in their life that you'll meet on your journey. And some of those people are currently in your life and working together with you in that way. And high vibe energy is being a good leader in the world. And there's going to be other people that are struggling within themselves with their issues, and you inspire them to keep loving and believing in themselves and not stay in situations where people are hurtful, unkind, manipulative, immature, self-indulgent. If you want to be in relationships with more balanced, mature people, you have to be a more balanced and mature person within yourself. So don't give up your dreams. Just realize you need to let go of some people that you thought a dream could come into reality with, but they're defensive to that dream. So it's like, well, you go do yours and I'll do mine. And I think there are people who will want to move forward with me, and there will be people who are on the same page as you. What's coming up for the more worldly, shadowy people that they might not see coming? The High Priestess. Why? Because of the Five of Pentacles. So some people ignore their intuition. You know, we have like the knowledge of the tree and good and evil planted within us. Our high vibe nature wants us to love and believe in ourselves, to learn these lessons in life, to get more balance within ourselves, to look at life from a higher perspective, to be inspired to love and believe in ourselves. But our shadow nature doesn't. And we can choose to backstab and not listen to our intuition. The High Priestess can represent our intuition, and it also represents Cancer and Pisces energy of connecting in with our more loving, intuitive, creative, inspired nature. Some people have left that aspect of themselves out in the cold. That is not my truth. That is not my philosophy of life. I live more from my mind than my heart, and they could think, again, I don't have to change. I don't have to look at life from a higher perspective. I don't have to heal from my past pain and heartbreak. I don't have to temper my ego. And that's right. It's true. They don't. They can keep doing life the way they do it. It's just that high vibe people aren't going to want to keep staying in a relationship with them. And other people have kind of learned lessons in life. Have when, the older people get, the more life experience people have. And some of these people kind of act like they're this 21 to 25-year-old or something, right? And then other people get in a relationship with them. They're like, wait a minute. That's not how you presented yourself as being. But now that we've gotten more involved in a relationship or gotten a more formal commitment, well, now you seem to be acting kind of in these immature ways of being. And I've already tried to move that type of relationship forward with other people. It did not work out. And I learned to stand up for myself and what I believe in. I want justice and fairness and truth and authenticity and love. And we all need to be putting in work to move to a relationship forward. I can put in a lot of work and effort to move a relationship forward and maintain balance within it and be the loving, encouraging, supportive person. But it's supposed to be just and fair and balanced. And eventually some of the high vibe people in these more worldly, shadowy people's way of living life, their intuition tells them they should leave these people because they seem to have a lot of mental conflict. They seem to be more driven and motivated by being in a relationship out of codependency or ego or lust or greed or pride or ego. And that's not why some other people want to be in a relationship with. And so some of those people right now also could be leaving their life. And what they don't see coming is that eventually the people who might keep staying in a relationship with them are other people who are hiding, that they're more motivated by the world or have a lack mentality and don't love and believe in themselves, or are more about ego and image and money and materialism, and they don't think they have enough. And for some people, it's like an addiction. They could have more than plenty, but enough is never enough. I need more status. I need more image. I need more money. I need more social clout. I need to be more the center of attention or look more victorious and successful in the world. And the people in their life, people who might keep staying in their life, are people who don't want them either to ever love and believe in themselves. You should keep staying in a relationship with me. This looks just and fair. We look like we've moved on. We've had a new beginning. We look like we've gotten justice in the world. But we all might stay in that relationship out of our own lack mentality and our fear and our codependency. And then they can be in a relationship with someone that, is kind of more like them. And sometimes the shadowy people don't want to be in a relationship with someone who's more like them. Because shadowy energy can be a more transactional Taurus relationship than a high vibe Taurus type relationship. Well, if I have more of the things that you want, then I should be the one who's more indulged. And it should be a little bit more about me. And some of these people that kind of is their philosophy of life, but they thought they were the one that should be more indulged. Well, now, because they might be driven more by ego and image and money and materialism, they could be getting in a relationship with someone, whether they're male or female, whatever, that has more of those things of the world that they value. So now they're going to have to indulge someone in a relationship. Now the shoe's on the other foot. And that might kind of be the thing to wake some people up, like, wow, is that how I acted in a relationship? Did I kind of think people should indulge me? Yeah. But when they were in it, they were defensive to seeing the truth and stopping that behavior because they kind of, had this philosophy of life that it was just and fair. Whoever has more of these things that people want, which they were more motivated by things of the world, they thought people should indulge them. Well, now they're going to be in a relationship, and they might keep moving forward in it and defending it because those things are more important to them. But now they know how hard it is to stay in a relationship with someone who you feel is kind of more about themselves and kind of more manipulative and immature and wants you to indulge them because you're afraid kind of leaving. And now they'll kind of experience that themselves and understand why some people in their life left them. But they might not be willing to leave because those things kind of got a stranglehold on them. And so they'll just hide that they feel left out in the cold and that they really might have mental conflict about moving forward with the people they're in a relationship with, but they're too prideful to put an end to the illusion and illuminate the truth. So they'll keep moving forward in it. And some people have seen that. I see you're very prideful, egotistical, materialistic, stubborn. I wish you peace. I'm moving on. So there you go, Scorpio. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.